ladies and gentlemen. Yes, that's exactly how you say good morning, especially when you are going to be given tools and tips and education to make sure that when you make a decision to buy a car or you buy the next one or you upgrade, you've got all of that information ready, right? So my name is Nicolette Mashile. I am going to be your host today. So welcome officially to the Renault Car Convo. Today is going to be a session that is going to be very educational, and that is what is going to serve educational purposes. Secondly, we also understand that people's driving style, people's preferences are all different. So all of the tips and guidance that you're going to hear today in here, please understand that it is guidance and just tips. It is not really to influence the decisions and preferences that you hold as an individual. And that's what we want to do today. We want to put together building blocks to create a predictability plan when it comes to your car purchasing journey. We don't want you walking into the dealership and being very shocked and surprised as to, why is this person speaking to me? Why are they asking me about my needs? Why are they asking me about where I'm going to be driving? This is what you are going to be expecting. How many of us, when we buy a car, we just worry about the installment? What I'm going to pay at the bank. We don't think about the cost of operating that car. What does buying a new car look like? What does buying a used car look like? What if I want to now trade in my car? What does that all actually look like? So we want to create those blocks of predictability, right? But of course, also one of the most important things that is going to happen is, how do you become a safe driver? I can tell you, brands don't want their cars getting into accidents. It does not look good that cars, it's always the same car brand that's getting into accidents. So we make sure that while we're taking you through the journey of purchasing your car, there's also that safety element that we're going to be teaching you on to make sure that you become a responsible but also a safe driver on our roads. That's the beauty that the Renault brand really represents, that they're bringing the right people to give you the right information. And ladies and gentlemen, to really get into our conversation, I would like us to start off our predictability plan with choosing your product. Please help me bring on stage Tebogo Sekobe, who is a product manager at Renault South Africa with over 10 years automotive experience across various disciplines with a focus on product management, marketing research, sales management, and after-sales management. Let's bring him onto stage. It is Tebogo Sekobe.
Thank you, Nicolette. Good morning, everyone. Very excited that you could join us this morning. And we'll just jump straight into it. I have the pleasure of taking you through the first phase of the vehicle purchasing journey. So mainly starting with the choosing your product. I'm sure for a lot of you in this room, this is a very familiar sight. Yes? Yeah. It's a reality for many South Africans. It actually reminds me of my time before I got my first vehicle. I think I had a song humming in my head. That last taxi ride was a very joyful one. And I'm not the best music producer, but it went along along this way, to just last day. So the reality is, this is a reality for many South Africans, and there's a lot of benefits with this mode of transport. Not everyone loves them. Some people feel they're a bit hostile on the roads. But for me, I think they contribute positively. The beautiful thing about taking a taxi is you will never arrive late at work. Whether there is a yellow lane or no yellow lane, some rough terrain on the side or not, whether there's a JMPD officer there or not, you will get to work on time. That's the beauty about taxis. But there's also the inconveniences as well. Having to wake up at the crack of dawn, and go catch 2-3 taxis, having to leave, having to get home late, having to catch those three taxis as well. So I just want to play a quick video clip before we proceed. key takeouts from that is, there's an element of convenience, where owning your own vehicle is concerned. And they've also made reference to some inconveniences of having to use public transport, as we touched on earlier on, the having to get home late or, having to wake up at the crack of dawn. So very much like Lerato here, who's a young marketing graduate. All she knows all her life is public transport from when she was in high school right through to university, and even now when she's working. She's just started recently working as in the marketing department in a company, and her mode of transport to work is taxis. She catches about 3 taxis, leaves home at about 5 in the morning to get to work at 8, and she gets home at 8 o'clock at night. So, that's a bit of there's not just the inconvenience, but there's a safety element also associated with that. And also, I think she's at a stage now where she feels like, I've worked for 6 months, I've now got buying power. I don't have to be forced, to sit, the whole 4-4 maslalisane. I'm tired of that, being squashed between, certain passengers. I'm the tiny one, and then there's, but also, no more having to listen to the salespeople at the taxi rank, selling cool time, juice mayo, So she's got enough buying power now to purchase her first vehicle. And one thing she's mindful of that is that she needs to maintain a healthy credit score. Like with anything that you have to purchase on credit or get financing from a bank, you need to maintain a very healthy credit score. And what she wants is not just the mode of transport. She wants a car that's an extension of her, something that resonates with her personality, something funky, something very energetic, something, something that just resembles, it's an extension of her. It must have vibrant colors. It must be more than just a mode of transport. So she's done her research, inquired with a couple of people around the bar stand, over meals, people who own vehicles. And she's identified a particular vehicle, she's done some research, and the next step for Lerato is to do a needs analysis, where she sits down and she starts doing a checklist for herself. So, that means that her plan is that every 3 months she wants to go home, visit her family, and public transport, it's having to travel that far can be a bit of an inconvenience. So for her, the kind of vehicle that she wants, something that can accommodate her needs when she's traveling to Lephalale to go visit her family, but also, to commute to work on a daily basis. Something that comes to mind is the poor road conditions. So she wants a vehicle that can tackle the poor road conditions that we currently have in our country, something that's not very soft, but something that'll take on those tough conditions. And also, in light of the rise in fuel costs, you want something that's very fuel efficient. Something that's not going to hit her pocket. Something that's going to be, call it affordable in terms of a fuel tank, fuel efficient, something that can, can accommodate that need. And also, if that option is available, what she's mindful of living in Gauteng is that if she can get a vehicle with auto transmission, that would be great. Not just for the metro or traffic in the metro areas, but also for most of you that have traveled to Limpopo around Easter time on that N1. On a Friday, you would know, Thursday, Friday, you know that, the traffic congestion is just, it's bad. So the convenience of having an auto transmission vehicle, that's a plus for her. Another thing is, speaking of traveling to Limpopo, and also traveling within the metro areas, the benefit of having navigation with live traffic feeds. So in the event where she's traveling to work and there's an accident, she wants a vehicle that will be able to plan her journey to her destination. And also, while doing that, she wants a vehicle that, can basically mirror her phone and let her enjoy her music, her playlist while traveling to work or traveling to go visit her family. So she's done this checklist. She's identified a few key vehicle attributes that, matter to her. Now, each individual has different attributes. Someone from a metro area might say, a vehicle with high ground clearance or doesn't really matter for her or him. Their interests are something else versus a Lerato. But in Lerato's case, again, she wants something that can tackle those tough road conditions. But she's more of an SUV person. She loves an SUV, the look and feel of it. It's very aspirational. She loves it. And also, comfort is very key for those long distance trips, and the convenience, again, navigating and being able to play your music while traveling. Safety is a very key component for her. So she wants something that's safe, not just for herself, but also for her passengers. And then the final one is total cost of ownership. So she's identified all of those features. Very important. She knows what she wants in the vehicle, what's important to her. Now, in terms of total cost of ownership, it goes beyond than just the monthly installment. So there's the monthly affordability. Then there's the insurance factor, which you need to incorporate in there. And then there's also the fuel efficiency, how much it will cost you to fill up a tank every month. It's one thing to fill up a tank, but how fuel efficient is that vehicle? There's other elements as well, including resale value, which people tend to not be aware of or disregard. Sometimes you buy a vehicle not knowing what the resale value is. Resale value meaning that you buy that vehicle, if your intention is to trade in that vehicle in 3 years' time, you need to know that the type of vehicle that you're buying, you'll get the kind of returns in order to not have to call it load extra, meaning that there won't be a shortfall when you trade in that vehicle. So those are just some of the key elements that, from a total cost of ownership point of view, that stand out. But also, something to consider is that you could be traveling on the road, on the highways. There's roadworks happening on the side of the way, on the side of the highway, and you get a stone chip. Can you afford to replace that windshield? If you hit a pothole and you damage the tire, you have to replace it. Can you afford to replace that tire? That forms part of the total cost of ownership journey. And basically, in terms of the customer journey, that would basically sum up in a nutshell Lerato's customer journey. So she's done the research. Now she feels confident enough in terms of what she selected. She's done some comparisons with some competitors, but she's identified this particular vehicle. It resonates with her personality. It's all about who she is. It's an extension of her. And she decides, you know what, I'm ready now to go sit with a qualified dealer person who's going to educate me even more and take me through the car. So the next step is a dealer visit.
Let's give a round of applause for Tebogo. Tebogo, you can just join me in the hot seat. Just a quick a couple of questions. But there's a saying that goes, people don't buy products, they buy experiences. When you look at the products that are available at Renault, what exactly are you guys selling to the consumer?
I think with selling any vehicle, it goes beyond just selling the bells and whistles. When we say bells and whistles, the features that the car's got, this type of infotainment screen, it's got so many kilowatts and so much torque. It's all about the engagement, that lasting impression that you're going to leave with the customer. Because you must remember, even if the customer is going to buy or purchase that vehicle with the intention of keeping it, word of mouth is very powerful. So if they've had a good experience, you never know who in their social circles might be on the market, or if it's going to be a repeat purchase. That customer will come back to you. If you look after them well, they will come back and do a repeat purchase. So it goes a little bit more than just selling the key features of the vehicle. It's how you connect with your customer and trying to identify what their needs are. So rather than just to flood them with all the features, do a needs analysis, break it down, try and understand. And then when you sell those features, put it into context for that customer, as if, it'll make sense for them when you do that. Because one thing we're guilty of in the industry, we just want to flood. The car's got this feature, the car's got this feature, electric windows. Do a needs analysis, understand your customer, then put things into context for them.
So basically speak to their biggest need, because you can tell me about electric windows, but if it's not a thing for me, it doesn't actually matter.
Exactly.
Whether I've got, maybe navigation, as you mentioned, there is far more important to me. In fact, this morning as I was driving here, I saw traffic and I said, what am I going to do? But then at least I've got that navigation to be able to see which roads I can take as an alternative that will still lead me back to the main road I needed to be on.
Correct.
Let's talk about Lerato. You spoke about Lerato And I think for many of us, as we were listening to who Lerato is, the profile of a person like Lerato, at some point in our lives, we were there where Lerato was. I mean, with exceptions, maybe we're not traveling on the N1 in peak traffic during Easter to, Limpopo, Kapara, ZCC, Rakel Kerekeng, or wherever we're going. However, we still fit some parts of the market segmentation of a person like Lerato, right? Yes. What would you say are the top, and I know I'm narrowing you down, 3 things that one should really put as a high consideration when they are choosing a suitable product for themselves?
Okay, so it all boils down to the rands and cents. So affordability is very, very important. Affordability beyond just the monthly installment for the vehicle.
Absolutely.
We touched on it with the total cost of ownership, the insurance factor, and all other elements linked to affordability. That's very key. In light of what's happening now, which is affecting all of us, the rising fuel costs. So fuel efficiency, the operating costs of that vehicle are very key. So fuel efficiency is a number 2 there. And, the design. Today, vehicles are not just a mode of transport.
Yeah.
Even the entry vehicles are, from a design point of view, are very attractive. So other things that come in there as part of the design is comfort, the convenience, and all of those. So those would be the 3 critical elements that a Lerato or a customer very similar to Lerato should consider when making a purchase.
What are some of the mistakes that you see people, making when they're first-time car purchases in terms of product choice? What type of mistakes have you seen that are quite trendy that people make often?
Even though you're looking at, we touched on affordability, very key and critical element. But there are times where you may find certain brands being a lot cheaper. And I like to make reference to an analogy. My little brother likes saying that cheap is expensive. So you might buy something that's very, very cheap today, but you don't know what might happen 10 years down the line, in the sense that the brand might pull out of the country. If the brand presence is very key. You need to know how long that brand has been in the country, their footprint in the country. So you have a Tebogo traveling from here, going to as far as Kuruma, Northern Cape, or Mafikeng. Is there a Renault dealership? Can I find it in the event something happens to my vehicle?
Yeah.
So those are elements that one needs to consider over and above, all the elements that we've touched on.
I like that. And I think it's quite a key one. Is you don't want to find. The other day I was trying to buy my mom a car, and one of my biggest worries was, is there going to be a dealership for her to take it for, for service close enough for her to be able to not need to travel 104 kilometers to where it is? So I like that idea of really looking at the brand presence and the footprint of that brand. Thank you very much for such invaluable information.
I'm going to be talking you through what to expect when you walk into a dealership. Now, most of you will be like, oh my gosh, they just want to take my money and run. But that's not the case. When you walk in, you will be met